In this video, I'm going to be taking this 10-gallon aquarium and turning it into a desert oasis. This is going to be a challenge. Getting everything to fit together in such a small space took some patience, but creating one of nature's most unique places would make for an amazing project. Let's jump in and I'll show you how I built it from start to finish. The project started with a standard 10-gallon glass aquarium. Small, rectangular, and just big enough to get creative with. Now, we need to customize it to separate our land and water section. I decided to use egg crates to be my foundation for dividing everything. To get it down to the perfect size, I got out my most versatile tool, the Dremel. Using the Dremel to cut the egg crate was a game changer. Egg crate panels are made from tough plastic, so scissors or regular tools just won't do the job. The Dremel's rotating blade makes clean, precise cuts fast and easy, even in tight spots. It lets me shape the egg crate exactly how I want it without cracking or breaking. For any DIY project like this, having a Dremel in your toolkit makes customizing materials way simpler. It saved me a lot of time compared to cutting by hand. I did a quick test to see how it would look in the tank. I think this is the perfect size for the land area, but we still need to customize the crates further. So I used some fish-safe foam and completely covered the egg crates with it. While it was still fresh, I pressed in some dragonstone to give it texture and stability. This helps the structure look more natural. I think dragonstone is going to help us get a true desert oasis vibe. I left everything to cure for almost 2 days, and then I got to work on shaving off all the shiny bits. This is a time-consuming process, but if you ever use this foam, it is definitely worth it because it makes the surface look rough, creating a natural rocky surface. Our next step was to cover the whole thing with fish-safe silicone, so we can cover this whole thing with sand to give us that desert vibe. "24 hours later, it was dry, and I lifted it up carefully to remove the excess sand that did not stick. Now with the walls complete, it was time for the most challenging part, figuring out how I was going to install these in the tank. I decided to use some more silicone to attach it to the aquarium, but this stuff needs time to cure. I added some support to hold it up. And then use the remaining pond foam to help stick everything to the aquarium. After everything dried, it looked like it worked. The hardest part of this build is now done. The next step is to fill in the land section with a drainage area. I will be using some clay balls. They're lightweight, hold water well, and help prevent the soil from staying soggy, but they come pretty dirty. So before adding them, I had to give them a good rinse. Clay balls can be dusty right out of the bag, and washing them removes that fine debris so it doesn't cloud the tank or clog anything later. I made sure to rinse the balls multiple times. Once they are clean, I can pour them in and spread them evenly across the bottom of the land section. I packed the land section almost to the top, leaving a little bit of room for some soil and sand. But we need to add something between the drainage layer and the substrate. Using some window screen, I can cover all the clay balls and keep the soil from mixing down into the clay balls while still allowing water to pass through. It makes maintenance easier and keeps the drainage layer working the way it should. Once the mesh is in place, we can start adding our soil and sand mix to shape the surface. For the soil, I'll be using black and gold natural organic potting mix. I covered the mesh completely with this soil. Now with the soil nicely packed in at the top, I started to work on the substrate for the water area. I got some freshly cleaned sand and covered the whole bottom of the tank, making sure to scape it with the sand a bit higher towards the back, using one of my favorite aquascaping tools. This is the Aquascaping spatula. It's perfect for smoothing and leveling the sand while still letting me make small adjustments in tight spots. Next, I got 2 different sized gravel to spread around the sand. The larger gravel will go in small clusters to mimic rocky patches you might find in the desert. while the finer gravel will blend into the sand for a more natural transition. Mixing sizes adds depth and texture, making the layout feel less flat and more realistic. This simple technique really made everything look nice. Now we need to head out and pick out some of the plants for the land area. I wanted a proper desert look, so obviously we need to pick up some cactus. And maybe even a succulent, because this plant section has a lot of nice ones to choose from. Over all the plants, I decided on these 3. I went ahead and paid for them and got them back to the lab. Then I started to remove the soil they came in. I don't know if the soil from the store has any pests or chemicals that can hurt our setup. Once I removed the soil, I got to planting everything, trying my best to not destroy the setup. Once everything was planted, I wanted to change up the look a little. The soil look probably doesn't match the desert theme too much, so I got some leftover sand and covered all the soil. In my opinion, I think this brought everything together. Finally, we could fill up the tank. I was not looking forward to this, but I slowly filled it up and it looks like our land area is holding up for now. Next, this tank needed a filter. Using a brand new sponge filter rated for 10 gallons, I got it all set up with some new airline tubing and its own aerator. Now, the sponge kind of sticks out a bit, so I got some more dragon stone to keep everything cohesive and found a nice size one that covers up the filter nicely. All we had left to do was add our essentials like water conditioner and some bottled beneficial bacteria to get everything up and running. After the tank was established, I went out to one of my local fish stores to find a microfish that I thought would look cool in this setup. I got back with 2 different minnows. Using my bucket, I got them out of the bag and got them acclimated. I slowly released these guys in the setup. There are a total of 8 minnows that I picked up. 4 are the white cloud mountain minnows, and the other 4 are the black white cloud mountain minnows. The minnows I picked up are a perfect fit for this desert oasis setup for several reasons. First, they are small and peaceful fish, which means they won't disturb the carefully built land and water areas. Because this tank combines both dry land and water features in a limited space. It's important to have fish that can comfortably live in a smaller, unique environment. And these minnows are hardy enough to adapt to a range of water conditions. They tolerate cooler water temperatures and are quite resilient, making them well suited to the somewhat different setup this tank has compared to a traditional aquarium. On top of that, their natural colors and subtle patterns blend beautifully with the sand substrate and rocky decorations, helping them look like a natural part of the desert oasis rather than just fish in a tank. Finally, their constant movement adds life and energy to the water section, without overwhelming the delicate balance of the habitat. All these factors make these minnows a great choice for bringing the aquatic part of this desert oasis to life. I have been eyeing these guys for a long time now, so I am glad I finally set up something that I feel like they look great in. These fish are meant to be kept in groups. Minnows are social fish that feel safest and most comfortable swimming in groups. Keeping them in small schools reduces stress and encourages natural behavior. I did some research and found you need a minimum of 6, but I decided to get 8, but did not want to push it to 10 or 12 because this is not a full-on 10-gallon setup. Now it's time to feed the minnows. I'm using Fluval Bug Bites Tropical Formula Flakes. They're packed with high quality protein from dried black soldier fly larvae, which is a natural and nutritious food source. These flakes float on the water, making it easy for the minnows to find and eat them. They also help keep the fish healthy, with essential nutrients and omega fatty acids that support vibrant colors and strong fins. These little guys are quick to take a nibble. Now with the fish fed, that means our desert oasis build is now complete. I have been wanting to build something like this for a while. It may not be perfect, but I'm still happy with how it turned out. The minnows were the perfect addition to this tank. I just recently released a video with some relaxing music to my shrimp tank, and I was thinking about doing one of those videos maybe about this one. So if you guys want to see something like that, let me know down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed watching this build, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more aquarium and DIY projects. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.